Hey loves! Okay, so I'm back with another video. This time I'm going to do a skincare video. But before we jump into the video, if you're not subscribed to my channel, make sure that you are subscribed. Make sure you're following me on Instagram at allmyloves2. And make sure you turn on that notification bell so you know when I post videos. Generally, I post videos every Wednesday at 6 a.m. Let's get into this video. So as the title says, this is a acne.org tips and tricks type video. So I did a video on this system several years ago. Just a little bit of background, I'm not gonna ramble too much about my skin. So I didn't start breaking out until like I was an adult. I didn't have acne as a teenager, and I got hormonal acne. So hormonal acne basically just means that this is the areas that you're breaking out in. Like that's my main areas. I really don't break out up here around my forehead. Every once in a while I will break out on my forehead randomly, I don't know why, but generally this is my breakout area. And so like I said, I didn't start breaking out till I was an adult. I am recovering product junkie, so I have literally tried everything out there. So I tried this system several years ago. It worked really well. My skin was clearer than it had been since I started breaking out, and because I was a product junkie, I was like, okay, it worked, let me try some more things. And then the only downside too, which is why I decided to try something else, was that you could only order it online. Like there's nowhere that I'm aware of, at least, where you can just go and pick up the product in store. And so when it comes to products like my skincare, I like to have items that are easily accessible. You know, if I run out and I just forgot to get some more, I can just run to the store and get it, as opposed to having to order it online and wait for it to be shipped out to me. So long story short, I stopped using it for that reason, because I wanted something more accessible and I just felt like trying new things. Which is pretty stupid because it worked really well. So over the past several years since then, I've tried a bunch of different products. I don't even know how many. Some of them have worked, but nothing has ever completely stopped my breakouts. I think the only thing that would probably stop that is if like I went vegan or something, and I'm not ready to do that. Because usually your breakouts are an internal thing. We put a lot of topical solutions on our face to help clear up the acne, but usually it's kind of the purging from within. So when you clean out your insides, drink a lot of water, eat super healthy foods that are going to nourish you and like cleanse your body, that's where you really see the results. But it's easier said than done, so we use a lot of stuff on our face to help clear it out on the outside. So basically I was like, you know what, I just need to go back to super basics and go back to acne.org. It worked really well. It does take some time to work, but it worked really well. I should have never stopped using it, so I'm just gonna go back to using it. So I've been using it for a few months. Like I said, this is my second time using this line of products. I think the first time I used it, it worked after about like maybe 4 months or so, but I was extremely strict about how I used it. Like when I say I followed the directions down to a T, that's what you're supposed to do. I haven't really done that as much this time, which I should, but I'll show you the basic system and the directions it comes with, because that's a main step in the system, is to do it exactly as they say. There's a bunch of instructional videos and all that stuff to just show you exactly what to do. And I'm also going to follow this up at some point with an actual skincare video where I show you what I do when I'm going through my skincare routine. Right now I just kind of want to be more in depth and give you guys details on the things that I have learned after using this for so long that kind of help the whole process. So like I said, okay, so the first thing, I'm like losing track of my thoughts. So first thing is, it's a 3-step system. Okay, so you get this in this paper with instructions. There's 3 steps. There's cleanser, treatment, moisturizer. Okay, so basically when you get this system, you have specific directions that they ask you to follow. It tells you exactly what to do. There's a few main things to remember when you're using this system, and it really just depends on the severity of your acne. But a big thing is you don't want to put a lot of friction on your face, especially if you have active acne. You don't want to like be rough on your skin and touch it a lot and do anything that's going to just irritate it even more. So they really stress the idea of being extremely gentle with your face. So like just kind of splashing your face with water, like barely touching your face as you're putting the products on, as you're cleansing your face, waiting for your face to be fully dry in between each step, like anywhere from 5 to 15. Like I mentioned, when I first used this system, I would literally be so specific. When it says to wait 5 to 15 minutes, I would set a timer on my phone and make sure that I waited that amount of time. You have to be really specific about washing your hands in between each step. Like, it's really precise directions that you have to follow. But being that this is my second time around, I know that it works well with my skin. I kind of like incorporated some of my own things in there that I know will probably be okay. But if it's your first time using this system, and if you have really severe acne, do exactly what they say. Don't try to switch it up. Don't try to incorporate your own things. Like, see how your skin reacts to this first. Get accustomed to using the system before you try to mix anything up. But if your acne is not extremely severe, or if you've been using the system for a while and you have allowed your skin to be accustomed to it, then you can try to incorporate these things into it. Another reason I just remembered why I stopped using the system as well is because you go through an extremely intense drying phase, which is one of the worst parts of it, because if you have dry, flaky skin that's like tight and itchy and it's always peeling, how are you supposed to put makeup on? Like, there's just a lot that goes into this system, but at the end of the day, it's 100% worth it because your skin is really clear. And it requires you to use a lot of products. But it takes time and it all absorbs into your skin, which is why they have that 5 to 15 minute drying period in between. But you can go online, you can read up on all that stuff. I basically want to show you guys my tips and tricks that I have learned along the way. So basically, this is the system. So you have the face wash, and the thing with these is that it's all super basic. If you do want to replace some of these, I think that if you go online, I don't know exactly where it is, they do give you recommendations on products that you can use in replacement of these to kind of still go through their system without having to purchase every single product. So here's the cleanser, which is the first step. The second step is the benzoyl peroxide, which is 2.5 benzoyl peroxide. This is what dries your skin out really bad because you have to use so much of it. And the third step is moisturizer. That just has ingredients in it like licorice root extract that are going to moisturize your skin and keep it calm because it is irritated if you do have active acne. And then once you're like a month into that system, they say that it's okay to incorporate a different lotion, which is an AHA with glycolic acid, 10% glycolic acid. And so what this one is going to do is going to be a natural exfoliator for your skin as opposed to an exfoliator that is going to kind of agitate your acne. It's supposed to improve the texture, leave your complexion visibly smoother, reduce irritation, ultra hydrating, non-comedogenic, which means it's not going to clog your pores, fragrance free and dye free. I will say that this definitely does help with the drying. When you incorporate this into your skincare, it tells you exactly how often. It's either like every other day or just at night. You kind of just have to gauge what works for you. And then they also recommend using jojoba oil if you do experience an intense amount of drying, which I did get. This is the jojoba oil that I found on Amazon. If you guys want to purchase this one, which I think is really great, it wasn't that expensive. You see, you get a whole big bottle, and they say jojoba oil because it's the one that mimics the sebum of your skin the most. It's great for dry skin, for dry hair. It's chemical free. It absorbs really fast into your skin. It's antibacterial, anti-inflammatory. So those are things that are amazing for the skin. So they say to use that. So, okay, I feel like I'm just like all over the place. So I think I'll jump into my tips. You're gonna still get a bit of dry skin because you're using a ton of benzoyl peroxide. But in order to combat that dryness from the beginning, I would suggest incorporating the jojoba oil from day one. So basically you're going to just put like 7 to 10 drops into your moisturizer, which is this one, and then you're going to moisturize your whole face with it. It's going to take time for it to absorb. You're going to have to kind of like, massage it into your face gently because it is a lot of product. So take your time with that, but I would use this from day one because you're adding in that extra moisture. So like I said, you're still going to experience some dryness, but the dryness is not going to be as intense as it would be if you waited to incorporate this. The next thing I'll say, so I keep mentioning this whole drying process, right? So when you wash your face and then you dry it, you have a drying process. When you do the benzoyl peroxide, after you put that on, you have a drying process, and then you have the moisturizer. So this might seem a little extra to some people, but I found that using a mini fan to dry my face has been a lifesaver because it speeds up the drying time. The reason they say to wait for 5 to 15 minutes in between each phase is because they want you to allow your skin to naturally kind of dry. But especially in the morning, like this 3-step system takes some time. So when you're using it, you want to make sure that you allocate a good 30 minutes to be able to do it without rushing. So when I put my benzoyl peroxide on my face, I turn on this fan and I just move it all around my face. Sometimes I'll continue to rub the product in my face as I use the fan. But when I tell you it speeds up the drying time so much, like I said, it seems really extra. I got this fan on Amazon. It seems really extra, but it really helps because who wants to sit there for all that time and just like wait for your skin to dry? You can use a fan, you can use like a piece of paper. That's what I used to use before I got a fan, just to kind of dry it. But like I said, that definitely helps. Another tip that I want to say is, is benzoyl peroxide, right? So benzoyl peroxide can bleach clothing and bleach your hair if it touches it. So I like to have like a little white washcloth with me as I'm using the product, and then if any gets like on my hairline, on my brows, if it gets too close to the eye area, like I only let it come like right here on my cheek, I don't let it get too close to the to under my eyes, then I'll just kind of like dab it off. Because you'll see, like if you just kind of put it all around and you're not mindful of where it's touching, your hair will start to lighten because, like I said, it's bleaching your hair. But when you make sure to wipe it off right away, that doesn't happen. The next tip that I will give is to have some kind of exfoliating mitt. So once again, if your acne is very severe, you're not going to want to do any kind of exfoliation because you're going to irritate your acne. But if you have areas where the acne has cleared up and all you have is marks left, but you have a lot of flaky skin because the benzoyl peroxide causes a lot of dryness, I would get something like this and just gently, super duper gently, just kind of exfoliate your skin just to get rid of the dead skin. Because if you have that dryness on your face, you can really try to heavily moisturize it, which is why they recommend using so much moisturizer, but it's not really going to solve the problem. You have to kind of get rid of it. And I wouldn't do that every day, you know, just try to use the moisturizer and the oil and all that stuff to combat the dryness. But maybe once a week or every other week, just gently exfoliate with some kind of exfoliating mitt to get rid of that dead skin. So the next thing I want to remind you guys is, so the AHA, it causes your skin to be super sensitive. So definitely make sure that you use your sunscreen. So what I'll do is I'll mix my sunscreen in with my moisturizer or with this, depending on if I'm using it in the morning or night, and the oil as well, mix it all in my hand and then put it all on my face. Instead of doing each layer by layer, I just mix it all up into one concoction and then I put it on my face. So if you're going to exfoliate your skin, or if you're going to be out in the sun a lot, just be very mindful that this is going to make your skin extra sensitive. So then just use this at night, or if you've exfoliated that day, then don't use this product that same day. Okay, the next thing. So like I said, you can use replacements for some of these products. They'll give you a list of the ones that you can reuse a replacement for. But so this moisturizer is cool, but sometimes I feel like it's not hydrating enough. Like I'll use it a lot, I'll mix it with the oil, but then I feel like my skin is still not as moisturized. And then also too, sometimes you'll notice that if you're someone that wears makeup or, you know, has other products that you use after you're done with your skincare routine, those products don't always mix too well with that moisturizer. So a moisturizer that I have found that I really like, that is kind of like on the same lane and is like gentle and clean and mixes well with other products, is this CeraVe moisturizing cream. And I think the face wash would be a good replacement as well if you didn't want to buy this face wash that it comes with. So this is really good. This is really good for eczema, for normal to dry skin, and I have a really oily skin. But like I said, with the benzoyl peroxide, even though my skin is really oily, it dries your skin out. So you want something to combat that oiliness. You don't need a ton of this, especially if you're mixing it in with the AHA and the jojoba oil, but this works really well. I feel like it has really hydrated my skin well, and it works, it combines really well with the other products. Like, it doesn't get that like little peeling effect that you get if you use some other products with this benzoyl peroxide. Right now I have a lot of post acne marks underneath my makeup, which the AHA, the glycolic acid AHA, is supposed to be helpful for, and it really does help. But I've mentioned this before in my skincare routines, I like to use a spot treatment like this Rapid Flash Brightening Serum by Sunday Riley, CEO. I've tried a lot of spot treatments in order to get rid of the post acne marks, and it normally takes like months for those to go away. And so while this doesn't like get rid of it overnight, it does work faster than any product that I've ever tried. So before I even do any of these skincare products, the acne.org system, I will make sure just to kind of put that on any of the dots to help speed up that healing process with the marks. Next thing I do is I like to use some type of spot treatment. I have this one that I ordered from Amazon, but you can use any kind that you want. Some type of spot treatment or mask. Be careful with the mask because you don't want to cause extra dryness with your skin. So if you're going to use some type of drying mask with like zinc or sulfur in it, make sure that you follow up with something that's really hydrating so that it doesn't dry your skin out even more. But I like to spot treat. You can spot treat with the benzoyl peroxide that they provide, but I feel like if that's already on my face, I need something else to kind of really target those individual marks that are on my face. Next, I still use a toner. I think a toner is essential. This is my absolute favorite toner that I have been using for years. I love it because it's clean and simple, and it's able to wipe over your eyes without any type of irritation. I gently use a cotton round and wipe that all over my face after I've washed it before I get into my skincare routine. I've mentioned that they want you to be extremely gentle with your face. So if you're going to use your fingers, you want to just barely touch your face. The face wash that they give you, it foams up a lot, so you really don't need to do much to get it to start working. But if you want to use some type of tool, I would not recommend using a Clarisonic because that will definitely be a little bit too severe if you have acne. But I love using this Foreo because it kind of like has like a vibrating thing, which is kind of like massaging your face, but you can just barely touch your face with it. So I'll put the face wash on this, and then I will just circulate this around my face, and it really just gets a good lather, and it gets all areas of my face. I can get underneath my eyes and in these little areas here, and I know that I'm getting a good cleanse on my face. You want to minimize as much germs and bacteria and all that stuff at all times, but especially when you're trying to clean up your skin. So I like to use a fresh washcloth every single day. Some people may use one, may use twice a day when you wash your face in the morning and night. Some people may use a paper towel, but I think that one a day is good. So I'll use it in the morning, and then I'll use it at night, and then I'll, put it away to be washed, and I'll bring out a fresh one. And that just minimizes the type of bacteria that might be lingering on your washcloth to dry your face. Just like I said, cutting down as much bacteria as you possibly can is always best. I think I gave you guys all my tips. Like I said, at some point I'm going to do a video where I actually like go through the motions of my skincare routine, but I wanted to just be very specific and detailed with all this now. I would still recommend acne.org. I recommended it back then. I'll still recommend it now. I think it's awesome. It's great. The only cons are that it's not easily accessible. There is a lot of drying out on your skin, but if you use the right products and like the oil and the moisturizer, you should be okay. And it's a very specific system that takes some time. So if you're someone that likes to get in and out the bathroom in 5 minutes with your skincare routine, this is not the one for you, because this definitely takes a good 20-25 minutes or so. Maybe not that long, but it takes time because it's each step, and you got to massage it in, and you got to dry it, you got to do all that stuff. But in the end, like I said, it's worth it. So I will link my previous video down below if you're interested in seeing that one. I will link all the products that I use down below. If you have any tips or questions, leave them down in the comment box. We can have an open discussion. Let's share if you've used this system before. Did it work for you? Did it not? I think there's kind of like a debate on people who think it works or think it doesn't work, but I like it. I've used it. That's the reason that I revisited it again after everything else over the years have failed, because I know that this system does work if you're very specific with it and follow the directions. So I hope that wasn't too much information. I hope you took that all in. Like I said, if you have any questions, let me know. If you did like this video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.